the Basic Bible, a homeschooling Bible course with me, Sonny Giles, and my big-eyed baby. Can you see? She's looking at me. How are you? I'm good. Thanks for asking. Yeah, it's really good to see you guys. This is the majorly big whoopee ha 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 day. Because you know what today is? It's the last of this particular series. No, that doesn't mean I'm going away. Because I think we're going to do some more. I've kind of enjoyed this first of our lessons together, and so look for Sonny Giles in the future. I think we'll do some more stuff together in the Basic Bible, a homeschool Bible course with me, Sonny Giles. Oh dear. Okay, now what you got to do, you got to turn this thing on. It does not work if you don't turn it on. So let's start off knock jokes just because I like to. You know what I'm saying? Hi, baby. All right, here's your knock joke. You ready? Knock. Who's there? Weirdo. Weirdo who? I think you're coming. They're going. Not coming. Where do you think you're coming? I can't tell a joke to save myself. There, that's for me. Knock. Who's there? Weirdo who? Think you're going. Okay. But I didn't tell it well. They're rising from the depths. Let's do a doodle. Yeah, you're familiar with this one. Last time, guys, so let's just do her together. There's a boot, there's a blob, there's a banana, there's a bowl of bubbles. And then after that, we got to be in balance. Beside the foods. We got some good stuff to talk about. Today, we're going to talk about Babylon. In fact, I got one last jingle for you. I know we've been repeating this every time the last several weeks because we're talking about the bubbles, you know what I'm saying? But not bubbles, balloons. But anyhow, this is the last. It's the final one. You ready? Here we go. So that's our little doodle. The Bible map. We're on. Can you redo from memory? From boot to Babylon. Boot, first thing we learned, right? Babylon, right over here. All right, I'm going to teach you in just a second. I'm going to Babylon on the map as one of the major cities that we're going to talk about, or is going to be talked about during the Old Testament, okay? Anyhow, you got it. Okay, can you say the jingle? No, you can't, because it's the first time I ever said it to you, unless you're just really good at memorizationing. It's really cute. Let's do it just because. So it's our little doodle. Is anybody weeping, crying, getting out the hand? We're going to be back. I'm pretty confident. So it's okay. Don't blur. So that's our little doodle. The Bible map we've done. Can you redo from memory? From boot to back? Oh, dear. I know. I'll talk about here is Babylon. Okay? And I keep getting my head in the way. All right, there's Babylon. All right, remember the boots up here. We've done all that. There's Babylon. Remember we did the Tigris is the upper river that comes out or flows into, I should say. And the Euphrates is the one that's closest to Jerusalem. That's a very important river, more important than the Tigris. The Euphrates are going to come up again. And one of the reasons it's going to come up again is because a major city in the Bible, in the Bible, as far as the Old Testament is concerned, called Babylon. And there is Babylon. If you want to figure out how to place on the boot, blob, banana boat with bubbles being bound beside balloons, then what you do, that's balloon, take the river closest to Jerusalem and come about, notice it's almost halfway, maybe not quite, about halfway between the top of the Persian Gulf and way up here at the tip of the Mediterranean, Babylon there. You might also notice that it's almost parallel, not quite, a little bit north, but not quite. See how that helps you to place Babylon map. Now here's the Bible verse that tells us where it actually comes from, or at least one of the references in the Bible. In the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, and on the 10th day of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, he came with all his army against Jerusalem, and he laid siege to it, and they built siege works all around it. Nebuchadnezzar is going to come over here. He probably didn't do the route because that's all dead. He probably came up around here. But anyhow, he's going to come over here and he's going to lay Jerusalem. He's actually going to conquer Jerusalem. And this is going to be during the time of Jeremiah. You might also recall that others into Babylonian captivity. Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, all of those guys are going to be influenced by the event when the Babylonian Empire comes over and they conquered. Okay, so yes, Babylon is a very, very big name and a big location with regards to the Bible. There you go. Can you doodle it? That was the thing I was supposed to do, is a doodle. Say bye to big-eyed baby, because we got to doodle-ate it. Okay, you guys got your doodle-ators? Okay, good. I didn't erase. Got my handy-dandy fancy eraser here. All right, guys, one last time. Let's boot, blob, banana about it. Boot. Blob. Banana. Boat. With bubbles. Being balanced, right? Beside balloons. And the other one here, it's the Persian Gulf, which is that's the Tigris, right? And which is this one? Come on, guys. Closest to Jerusalem. Euphrates. Very good. And about halfway up the Euphrates, we're going to put a dot. And that is going to be a city named what? Elon. Good job. I'm very proud of you. Really good. All right. We have memorized a lot together, and you're getting to, I can feel it. Put together all of these locations, general places, geographically speaking, so that we can make reference to them. In the future, you study the book of Acts, and we're going to talk about going to Italy or Rome, okay? And you study our other parts of the Bible and places, you study the Old Testament, you're going to talk about Babylon, etc. And you're starting to be able to feel really, really proud of you. So, the other thing that we have been doing during our series together, memorizing the chapters of Luke, the main themes of Luke. There are 24 chapters. We're into chapter 23. Yeah, see it right there, the shadows. 23. And can you tell me what you think happens? Well, you already read it. Oh, no. 23. Jesus gets crucified. That's right. So this is a very, very important chapter. It's read during the time that we are taking communion on, or it might be read around Easter time, that kind of thing. So 23 is very, very important. We're going to do two chapters. We're not just going to do 23. We're also going to do 24. Can you see the 2 and the 4 on this one? Again, the shadows here. And then the 4 is half of an arrow up. Jesus is resurrected. This is the tomb. Okay. So 24, Jesus is going to be resurrected from the dead. So if I were to ask you for this segment of what we've talked about today, I would ask you, what's the use? Remember the Bible lands, blah, 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 you know that one. What part of the Bible lands do we emphasize in this lesson? Babylon. Okay. And can you draw the chapter memory clues, which I believe that you can, because I just think that you can. Do you want to go ahead and try it? All right, let's do it. Okay, get out your doodle-ators one more time, and make sure you get your high dollar fancy eraser, the toilet paper there. All right, let's do 20. Okay, so you've got his head. Okay, and this part of his arm. So go ahead and give 2. Okay, and then we're going to also have his other arm that comes over here, and then we got his other arm that comes down here. We're going to do the body here, right? Okay, now he's going to be on the cross, so we need to get a cross going here. You guys staying with me? Okay. I guess we don't need a weekend if you wanted to, but and then this is the bell here, right? You put the shadow on, so you got the 2. You got the 2 here, and you got the shadow there for 3. Okay. All right. Now 24. All right. Go ahead and get your 2 first. Okay. And then kind of squiggle it like that, because this is going to be the shadow, isn't it? It's going to be the shadow, the outside of the boulder. Okay. Didn't do that 2 very good. The outside, I guess that's all black, isn't it? Because that's the inside of the tomb. There you go. How's that? All right. And then you draw you an arrow. Okay. So this half of the arrow is the 4. And then, of course, you got that half too, but this is the 4. Very good. All right. So I think that you got that. I think that you can memorization that, and so I'm proud of you. Let's do some doodle funnies. Sign sillies. You know, I went bald, but I still carry a comb. Part with it. You just can't let it go. I got to carry, I can too, but this guy's bald and he just part with it. But the other thing he can't do is he can't part with it because he's bald. Do you get it now? Oh my! I am rising from the depths. Make the memory. Let's just do. All right, really fast, guys, but we can do this. Luke chapter 1, Gabriel says Jesus will be born. Luke chapter 2, he gets born. We got the childhood of Jesus. Chapter 3, we got the family tree of Jesus. 40 days in the week tempted. Disciples, apostles. Question from John the Baptist: Are you the Christ? Jesus said, look around you. You're going to know that I am. Storm on the Sea of Galilee. One of the most Jesus ever told. The story of the Good Samaritan. Jesus teaches his disciples to pray, lay your treasures up in heaven, repent or perish, take the humble seat, things that are lost, son, coin, and sheep. Backwards there. And you got rich man and Lazarus, which how many came back to that? One. Very good. Rich man, the rich young ruler, and triumphant entry. He comes riding in, see 19. 20, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. 21, signs of the end times. 22, we're going to turn something into something else. Over becomes the Lord's Supper or communion. And then here are our final things. Jesus is going to die, and the last chapter of the book talks about his resurrection from the grave, because he doesn't stay dead. And so it's really, really crazy cool book as we travel all the way through chapter 24. Right, I think you got that. So if we make a memory, we also need to have memory verses, and two of them. One from chapter 23, one from chapter 24. Come to the place that is called the Skull. That's where they crucified Jesus, at a spot very spooky. They say it looked like a skull, probably, from a distance, the shadows and all that kind of thing. It's probably where it got its name. And they crucified him on his right hand, one on his right hand, one on his left hand, left side. The men said to him, why do you seek the living among the dead? He is not here, he is risen, for chapter 24. So here he gets crucified. Here he comes back to life again for the resurrection. So, memory, and you're going to try to make these verses. You might erase certain key words. Fill those blanks in. If you can, then you're probably ready for the pre-test. And if I were going to give you a preparation couple of questions, they would be as follows. What's the main topic of the chapter? And can you quote the memory verses? And I think that you're going to be able to do that because you're just crazy smart. Let's be silly. Look back in your mind. What's the hardest thing about riding a bike or learning to ride a bike? When you tried to learn, it was hard, wasn't it? Falling off here, there, So what's the hardest thing about riding or learning to ride a bike? Is the pavement. I remember, just trying to topple, boom. It's funny now. It wasn't funny, but got skin. Yeah. Okay, segment number 3, ponder a passage. That means you're going to think about a passage, and these are some really, really very important. Talk about the greatest event of all history, and that's when Jesus died and came back to life for you and me. I'm going to take our passage from chapter 4 because the climax of the book of Luke. Jesus doesn't stay dead. He comes back to life. And here's some of the hope about the resurrection morning. But on the first day of the early dawn, they went to the tomb taking spices they had prepared. And what day does Jesus come out of the tomb? The first day of the week. What day is that? Monday, right? Nope. The way our calendars seem to work. But the first day of the week is not Monday, it's Sunday. And the reason we know that is not just what the last day of the week is, according to the things that we have learned in regards to creation, etc. God creates, and how many days does it take him to create? 6. But there's 7 days of the week. So what day does he end his creation on? The last day of the week, which is Saturday. So let me ask you a question. What week did he start his creation on? Think about that one. He started on Sunday, and Jesus is going to be resurrected on Sunday. It's going to happen at early in the morning. And they found the stone that had been rolled tomb. Back in the day, whenever they had tombs like this, that they're generally be big stones because they didn't want to get animals in there or even grave robbers and that kind of. So it's a pretty good sized stone. And the women are a little bit surprised out that they don't even have to try to move that big old boulder because it's already been moved. Wow. And they found the stone rolled away, but when they did not find the body of the Lord Jesus. And so they've come there to prepare the body, but Jesus isn't there. While they were perplexed about this, so they're thinking that, and they probably have all kinds of scenarios going through their mind as to who rolled the boulder away. And why isn't the body here? Stole the body of Jesus. Well, that's what they're thinking. While they were perplexed about this, behold, men stood by them in dazzling apparel. Now we learn from other accounts that these are angels, okay? And so they got dazzling, interesting word. Yeah, if I say dazzling, what comes to your mind? Bright, shiny, woo, kind of. Okay, well, these men are probably, okay, and they're dazzling apparel. And as they were the women and bowed their faces to the ground, the men said, "Why do you seek the living among the dead?" And that's a very important question, because known that Jesus was not going to be there. You know why? Because Jesus had told them prior to this that he was the son of, he was going to go back to the Father, all of those kind of, but they weren't able to put it all together because Jesus talking in way beyond their understanding at that point. Why do you seek the living among the dead? He is not here, but he has risen. Remember how he told you? See, he told them. Remember how he told you while he was still in Galilee that the Son of Man must be delivered into the hands of sinful men and on the third day rise? So he already told them that. How many days was Jesus in the tomb? 3. And on the third day he's going to, and then it says they remembered his word. Oh yeah, Jesus did this. Now the rest of the context is going to give them an assignment about go tell other people, etc. It's really interesting, and you can read that. But I wanted you to see those 5 things play into our 5 questions that we're going to have. On what day of the week did Jesus rise from the dead? First day of the week. Great. And what day is that? Sunday, not Saturday. At what time of the day? Early dawn, right? What happened to allow the women to go, that they were able to, the big boulder was rolled away. And it startled the women, dazzling apparel. How many days did Jesus? 3, because it's the third day that they had gone to. Don't you just hate it when you go to the grocery store to get seedless grapes, but you accidentally get, well, Oreos? I can't say that's actually an accident, but I have done that. Cindy sends me to the store to get something to eat, and I come ice cream or Oreos or something like that. Oh, Sonny, you're so funny. All right, segment 4. Apply the why. Very, very important segment to them together each week. I hope you really are buying into this stuff because it's such important stuff. Well, on the first day of the week, at early dawn, they went to the tomb. Now, I need to ask you this so that you can help. Why is that important? We need to relate to these passages. We need to internalize them and make them part of our own system and be thankful for what Jesus did for us. Have you ever gotten up really early in the morning to watch the sun come up? I have. Man, it's so cool. But there's more to it than that. Didn't it feel like the world was waking up at the same time? Sometimes I have my boys or whatever, and you know, morning, the birds begin to chirp, you know, and the sun you begin to be able to see things better, you know, and it just seemed like the whole world's waking up with you. But here's the point. Don't you think that's why Jesus rose so early in the morning? Because God is reading the world to a new day, a new beginning, a time when we don't have to fear death anymore because my son conquered death. And so it's a new day, a Sunday morning, bright and early. Second thing that I want you to see from this context is that there were 2 men who stood by in dazzling. We know from other accounts that these men are angels. The other things that you know about angels that we learn in the Bible, make a list of those things because it's really an interesting study. These angels are not human beings. These angels are from God's realm, and they're created by God, but they're not human beings, okay? And there are really some interesting qualities. They can look like human beings, and often do, but anyhow, write down the things that you know about angels. It'd be a really interesting study. Do you think that you'd be startled if you saw an angel? Largely because they're not something you see every day, and they're from another realm, according to what we saw in our, they're wearing dazzling apparel, so they often appear bright. I think I would probably be a little startled. The question is why? Again, because, they're not necessarily because they've come to hurt me, but because they are just God, and in God's realm, things are different, pure and bright and white and all those kind of things probably. And then the last thing, and this is really important, he says, remember how he told you. Have you ever forgotten anything really important? I have. One time I forgot my mom's birthday, and it was before I ever remembered the mistake. Oh man, did I feel bad. And I went over there and I told her how sorry I was, really bad. I hate that when you forget something that's really important. These ladies had evidently forgotten some of what Jesus had taught, but it's more than that. Have you ever used, but later it became clear. I think it wasn't just that they forgot, but some of what Jesus said, it just didn't register. They didn't really understand what he meant when he said that he was going to die and people were going to kill him and life. It just didn't make sense to them. And so it wasn't just that they forgot, but that they didn't fully understand. Have something like that comes along though, and you just don't really, maybe it's something you learned in school or something, and you don't get it the first time, but maybe a couple weeks later things come to go, oh, well, yeah, that makes sense now. Question, and this guy, I think, if I'm saying this on the test, what are some things that you might understand better when we get to be with Jesus? I think the test question is actually going to be, what are some questions you want to ask Jesus? That's a good one, isn't it? But what are some things that we when I finally get to talk to Jesus, I'm gonna ask him this, and I'm gonna know it. What are things like that? All right, for test prep, I'm gonna ask you to be prepared to write 3 questions that you just can't wait to ask Jesus. I've got some good ones. How about you? It's gonna be so great, and maybe we get to walk right down by the river of life, and we're just talking, just me and Jesus. And dear Lord, I always wanted to ask you, why did this? Such as, why did you make mosquitoes? You got some questions like that? Write them down. All right. Here's our last little silly for this series, but it's a pretty good one. What trucks do pigs drive? Myself, although I've never seen a pig drive it. But my question is, what kind of trucks do pigs drive? Clearly, they drive 18 squealers. Get it? Squealers. 18, not 18. 18 squealers. Bah, ah, that sounds more like a lamb, not any of it. 18 squealers. 5 time to test. You got this. You do. Now, here's the thing, folks. This is the last test of our series together. So don't blow it. You can do this because I believe in you. All right, mamas and daddies, I forgot to change that to 16. It's not 16. This is the last one. Forgive me. So, mom and daddies, make sure that you put that on your little score pad or whatever you're doing as testing the kids is concerned. But here's the questions that I would ask in order to find out if they got all these segments in their head. You got it? Take a snap. Again, I hope that you'll stick with me because I think we're going to do this again. What I'd like to do probably next time is I'd like to zero in on Judea, Samaria, and Galilee, that general area, okay? And identify certain places that are going to be understanding the New Testament, and some of the Old Testament too, okay? Hey, if this study's been beneficial to you, will you please pray for me? And moms and dads, if you can you support our ministry? That would just mean the world to me. That would mean a lot. You can go here to find out more about that. I've enjoyed it. I hope that you have too. And send me your letters. Send me your doodles that you think, that you draw, all that kind of stuff. Just tickles me. I love you. And as I say at the end of everyone, I mean this with all of my heart. The one desire I have for you, more than anything else, is that you be there. Be there with me. In the arms of Jesus. Be there. 6.